you very much. Subcommittee Chairman Lemus, Subcommittee Ranking Member Gallego, members of the subcommittee and staff, I'm honored to be here today. The views I express are my own and do not represent the views of Harvard Kennedy School. You know, it was in 2014 that the CFTC, under my leadership, declared Bitcoin a commodity. And ever since then, for over 10 years now, I've been writing about the need to strengthen regulation in this area and bring clarity. Everyone wants clarity. We can all agree on that. But you can have clarity with bad rules.
They only wanted clarity here recently since Trump got in. And the reason is because the scam's up. We can't money launder anymore.
We need to create a regulatory framework that encourages responsible development of this technology, as the ranking member said, and not one that just leads to more of the speculative activity and abuses that we've seen far too much of today. I'm happy to focus on stablecoins, the most useful application of the technology to date, and I applaud the subcommittee for prioritizing this.
I'll correct you there. It's the second most useful. All right. It's the secondary ability that came after the means of exchange. How are we going to settle all of these stable coins? Yeah, you can throw it out there, but these other countries in BRICS, they don't give a shit about the Federal Reserve note anymore. They're all done with having a centralized reserve. All done with it. And quite frankly, human civilization should be as well. It's been the bane of human civilization. Empires felled because of the manipulation of the money supply. You know, Emperor Diocletian, Rome, is clipping coins to fund, war and welfare. By the time it got to the Middle East traders, these coins that were clipped, they started weighing them out. They're like, you Romans, you're crafty people. Give us another coin. You're missing some weight here. Thus, inflation.
The Genius Act has many features I support, such as full reserves for tokens, conservatively invested, and limitations on the activities of an issuer. But there are many areas where it is deficient. It is substantially weaker in many respects than the McHenry-Waters proposal that was negotiated between House Republican and Democratic members last fall, and it's substantially weaker than what Europe and other jurisdictions have put into place.
And notice it was done by Waters.
Basic prudential requirements need to be strengthened. This includes how the reserves are held and invested, and whether regulators have sufficient authority to establish rules regarding reserves, capital, liquidity, and other risk management standards.
These things are important, very important, because crises happen. And for the people to have safeguards, this is why the repeal of Glass-Steagall is so bad, because it merged regular banks with investment banks, or allowed for it. And look what happened, not 10 years later. Great financial crisis. See, it's the same, we can't be setting ourselves up to fail again. All right, so that's why we need all the clear rules of the road, all the laws. And everything that goes on prior to the laws is just market manipulation. It's just fraud. It's just outright fraud, okay? They're telling us right in these videos. These people are saying it.
In addition, the proposal limits states' authority for licensing and supervision to situations where there is a substantially similar state framework and an issuer below $10 billion in market cap. That's a good concept, but I would lower the threshold and explicitly require states to still follow some minimal federal standards. Second, the legislation does not address the bankruptcy of a stablecoin issuer. This means that the standard corporate bankruptcy process would likely apply, which would likely take a long time. The fact that the proposal gives holder a priority claim is good, but it does not assure them of full recovery, even at the end of that process. Ideally, the legislation should create a dedicated resolution process that returns money to holders quickly.
And where does the FDIC come into all this? Because they're not a bank, they're just a stablecoin issuer.
And minimizes collateral damage. Third, the Genius Act does not do enough to address the risks of financial crime and evasion of sanctions. It's good that it says stablecoin issuers are subject to the Bank Secrecy Act, or BSA. but the BSA focuses on obligations on centralized intermediaries. Stablecoins can be transferred and traded without going through a centralized intermediary, whether that's on a self-hosted wallet or on an automated decentralized platform, and they can be transferred through centralized platforms in jurisdictions that don't comply with BSA-type rules. We need to extend the regulatory perimeter and be more creative in tackling the AML and CFT challenges, as I discuss in my testimony. Fourth, the Genius Act does not have strong enough enforcement provisions. 3 of the 5 largest dollar-denominated stablecoin issuers are offshore, including Tether. The legislation should have a clear enforcement mechanism, strong criminal and civil penalties, and an explicit extraterritoriality provision. Fifth, the proposal does not address questions of competition and concentration of power, including limits on affiliate relationships and transactions, and how to ensure a level playing field among competing platforms, including potentially by giving them access to the central bank payment infrastructure. Finally, I urge the subcommittee and the Congress...
Remember, FedNow got delayed till July because they're working out all of these things about the law. All right, that's why I'm showing you these videos, man, because like these are the open discussions that they're having, but the ones they have after the cameras go away, a lot more in-depth and intense. And that's why Brad's up there talking about it with all the people, and I'm glad they're spending money like they are, because we can't have the Michael Saylors of the world be part of our strategic reserve at all for digital assets. I mean, we need the compliance, we need the laws, we need all this stuff. And that's why fucking around with these other blockchain companies and these other blockchain providers, like there's nothing behind them. Ripple has gone out of its way to be as transparent as possible with what the technology is, what their use case is, everything, who they're talking to, what's going on, putting the programmers front and center. The law's coming, people. The law's coming.